On the news, scores dead as Nigerian army clash with Boko Haram insurgents in Borno State. Presidency breaks silence on dismissal of Vice President's aide. And Congo military shares success in 25 rebel fighters since October. Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annetta Felix. 10 Nigerian soldiers have been killed and 12 others are feared missing after Boko Haram terrorists attacked a military team in Damboa local government area of Borno on Wednesday. Military sources said the attack began at 7:35 a.m. on November the 6th during an overnight military patrol. The insurgents also carted away 2 gun trucks with arms and ammunition, 3 general-purpose machine guns, and a Toyota Hilux truck. They allegedly burnt 4 military gun trucks and an armored personnel carrier. Meanwhile, the Nigerian army killed 9 Boko Haram fighters during the attack and recovered 3 AK-47 rifles during a sweep of the area. 9 officers who were wounded during the attack have been evacuated to the military hospital in Maiduguri for treatment. The army have now commenced a search and rescue effort for the 12 officers still feared missing in action. And now to politics. The presidency has confirmed the sacking of some political aides appointed by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. In a series of tweets on Friday, Special Advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on Media and Public Relations, Garba Shehu, confirmed the report. Shehu described the sack of Osinbajo's aides as part of an ongoing overhaul on Nigeria's seat of government. The spokesman further explained that Osinbajo's aides were fired because their political appointments were either revoked or not renewed in the second term. Shehu added that President Muhammadu Buhari ordered the exercise to streamline decision-making, cut down multiple authorities, and reduce the cost of administration. According to him, the sack is also, quote, an appropriate response to the general perception that the presidency has an oversized and bloated workforce which acts as a drag on efficiency, end of quote. At least 5 more buildings have been razed on Friday at Jeba by Okobaba Street, Ebute Metta, Lagos Island. The fire started in one building but spread to other buildings and shanties in the area. Eyewitnesses say firefighters arrived to the scene of the fire about 20 minutes after it broke out in an attempt to put it out. Meanwhile, residents of the area have begun evacuating their properties and seeking refuge elsewhere. The Ebute Metta fire is coming 3 days after a fire broke out in the popular Balogun market in Lagos. The fire was not put out until Wednesday, and several traders allegedly lost goods worth millions of naira. The Nigerian Senate wants the federal government to install firefighting facilities in major markets across the country. The Senate also urged the state government to unravel the reasons why fire service in Anambra could not speedily respond to the fire outbreak which occurred at the Onitsha main market recently. This follows a motion sponsored by Senator Ifeanyi Ubah during Thursday's plenary titled Tragic Fuel Tanker Fire Disaster in Onitsha, Anambra State. The motion was co-sponsored by Senators Stella Udua of PDP Anambra North and Uche Ekwunife of Anambra Central. Ubah described the death toll as unfortunate and called for acceleration in the passage of the Petroleum Tankers Safety Bill.
The Senate knows with great sadness the unfortunate petrol tanker inferno of Wednesday, 16th October and Thursday, 17th October 2019, which took place at Upper Iweka, Anambra, Onitsha, Anambra State. Further notes with sadness the death toll, concerned that between 2015 and 18, the same issues of fuel tanker infernos and accidents caused by articulated vehicles still bedevil our highways, and be convinced that in order to ensure safer roads across the country, there has to be a stricter enforcement of traffic safety rules by the Federal Road Safety Corps.
If you go to that market, you also discover that it will be almost impossible for fire truck to move in to help when you have this kind of situation. So I believe that it's time to modernize the market, because the trend these days is a more like market that we have. The days of open market is gone. So I think it's time for Anambra State government to find money to modernize that market so that could be easy access to the market in case we have a fire incident such as this.
Most of our tanker drivers are drunk. Even when you face them on the road, the way they chase you out of the road is quite, embarrassing. We need to check the kind of drivers and the integrity of the drivers that drive our lorries. Also look at the integrity of the vehicles that ply our roads. And the Federal Fire Service, I don't see a reason why we should not have their presence in all the markets. This is the time we need to use this auspicious moment to get them to have their presence in all the major markets in Nigeria in order to forestall, future occurrence of this monumental damage.
Fire service is something that the federal government can support states, but it is a major responsibility of any state to ensure that it takes the lead. The federal government can only provide some kind of support. And markets, like one of our colleagues said, our states get money. If that market or Onitsha market is the largest in West Africa, that is a gold mine for Anambra State government. And therefore, Anambra State government should do everything and anything possible to ensure that this thing does not happen.
Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has departed Abuja for Niger Republic to attend the ECOWAS Economic Community of West African States Summit. A statement by Laolu Akonde, spokesperson to the Vice President, explains that the summit will include other ECOWAS heads of state and government and will review the ongoing situation in Guinea-Bissau. Osinbajo will be representing President Muhammadu Buhari at the meeting. The one-day ECOWAS summit is focused on fighting terrorism across the region. The decision to convene the summit was reached at the 55th ordinary session of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government in Abuja on June 29, 2019. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has presented a total budget size of 1.168 trillion naira for the year 2020. The governor presented the document tagged Budget of Reawakening to the State House of Assembly on Friday. A breakdown shows the budget has a capital expenditure of 732.6 billion naira, while the sum of 441.8 billion naira was earmarked for recurrent expenditure. Sanwo-Olu explains that there were needs for sacrifices to reinvent Lagos in order to take the state to a much higher level. A coalition of civil rights organizations have stormed the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Abuja, demanding free and fair elections in the November 16 governorship polls in Bayelsa and Kogi State. The protesters, who numbered about 100, were led by Deji Adeyoju of Concerned Nigerians, Atoye Ariyodare of Coalition in Defense of Nigerian Democracy and Constitution, and Raphael Adebayo of Free Nigerian Movement. The protesters cited a risk assessment report by the Independent National Electoral Commission, which included an alleged plot to manipulate the election result with the aid of thugs. They called on the Electoral Commission to enforce strong mechanisms to make the two elections be adjudged as free, fair, and credible. They also called on INEC to make provisions for internally displaced persons, IDPs, to cast their votes in the polls.
We wish to encourage and task the Commission to put in place strong mechanisms that will make the two elections to be adjudged as free, fair, and credible. We have read multiple media reports on INEC's concern that thugs have been heavily mobilized to disrupt the forthcoming Kogi and Bayelsa State governorship elections. While we commend the honesty of the Commission in its risk assessment report on the forthcoming elections, we must strongly urge the Commission to be firm and unbiased in dealing with any form of electoral misconduct or violence by any of the political parties during the forthcoming elections.
INEC should come forward. Also, we saw what they did with electronic transmission of results. You understand? It reduces chances of manipulation of results. You understand? And a situation where if they say they want to do it manually, it means that thugs can snatch result sheets, mutilate the result sheet, change the result figures, and compel INEC at gunpoint to declare their candidates or parties winners. So we are just trying to help INEC, give them a window for free, fair, credible, and free, credible, and fair elections, for Kogi and Bayelsa. That's basically one of the reasons why we have come. They have received the petition. They have said they will get back our letter. They've said they will get back in touch with us. So basically, that's the reason for the protest.
Civil rights group African Center for Media and Information Literacy are demanding an end to the clampdown on free speech in Nigeria. The group, in partnership with media organizations, are hoping to find solutions to the incessant attacks on journalists and activists in the country. Abisola Adebayo has that story.
Freedom of speech is a fundamental human right, but it is often said that freedom after speech is not guaranteed. In the past months, scores of journalists and rights activists have been attacked, arrested, and tried for criticizing the government. To correct these ills, stakeholders from various sectors in the country have gathered to provide possible solutions to the matter.
We need to be very deliberate about educating citizens about their rights and responsibility so they stop outsourcing their voice to us. Because we can't do it. We don't have the resources, we don't have the scale. But if every citizen is holding their local government chairman by the jugular, sitting in front of their home, then we'll have a change dynamic.
Executive Director, Enough is Enough Nigeria, Yemi Adamolekun, sets the ball rolling. She says to end the clampdown on freedom of expression, Nigerians must be enlightened on their rights. For another member of the panel, the judiciary is the solution to this problem.
Today, courts will order release of someone for detention, and the same government, democratically elected governments, will refuse. Our major focus should not be judiciary, quite frankly. We should not allow them. We have to keep them on their toes and make comparison.
Human rights group Amnesty International has been at the forefront in the struggle to hold Nigerian government accountable to its people. Representing the body at this forum is Osai Ojigo, who maintains that Nigerians must unite in the quest for freedom and accountability.
We need to be very clear that the structures that exist might be bad, but if we collectively stand to ensure that, look, this court is not going to move until this order is respected, and we're able to down our tools for that, it's not going to change.
We have a legitimate power, and that it is necessary to restrain that legitimate power in order not for it to affect rights of the people and rule tyrannically.
No fewer than 5 journalists and activists are standing trial at various courts for questioning the activities of state and federal government. Though the Buhari-led administration has severally reaffirmed its commitment to upholding the rights of Nigerians in accordance with the provision of the Constitution, this group says the government words are not matched with actions. Abisola Adebayo, TV360, Lagos.
Indigenes of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, have been agitating for inclusion in the Federal Executive Council through a substantive minister in the Senate. At the end of a public hearing on the matter at the National Assembly Complex on Thursday, Chairman of the Ethics Committee, Senator Ayo Akinyelure, recalled that the federal government had been compelled since January 2018 to include an FCT native in the cabinet. Senator Akinyelure said the final reports to the Senate will capture the need for such judgments to be obeyed in accordance with the laws of the land. Recall that FCT indigenes had filed a petition on non-inclusion of Abuja original inhabitants in the 43-man list of ministers sent to the Senate, confirmed and sworn in by President Muhammadu Buhari.
No Nigerian should be discriminated by virtue of his sex, geographical location, or status, or tribe. But the people of FCT have been discriminated upon over and over again. for more than 20 years, maybe by the virtue of our geographical location. But we are saying we are praying this committee because we report so much confidence on you that you will come to our aid. The case between FCT people and federal government is clear. FCT people are saying there is a constitution, there is a court judgment, implement it and follow the rule of law. And federal government is dwelling and acting on impunity and total disregard to rule of law.
Mr. President, we are going to bring all this in notice to Mr. President. We will see urge him. We will appeal to him. We know he is to defend the constitution. He will, on the basis of that, he will give FCT their own minister. We are for you. You democratically elected us here. But when you compel, Nigerian president, one of the most powerful men all over the world, he will tell you that he has not treated your paper. Your paper will be there till eternity. You only be making noise. And we executives, those of us in legislature, we are not court. You have brought court judgment. It is on the notice of it we are going to write as a committee to the Senate. And the Senate will communicate the decision of the whole Nigeria to Mr. President. And I believe Nigerian president is upright and he will do the needful.
The issue of we want to be FCT minister, no problem, will be at the Federal Executive Council where we'll also represent our people. This is very important and very paramount. Otherwise, anytime you bring up issues that we want representation at the Federal Executive Council, people become apprehensive. No.
We'll take a break now and we'll be right back.
Corruption not in my country.
Now, yeah?
Yes, Oga. Okay. Where I go come find 300 naira change?
I better try look for change now. When they do business? Hey, Timmy. I did, bro. I be. I beg, give me 200 naira. Make I take sort out this guy. Bless him, no get change.
Take it, give us.
I said 200.
Give her 100 naira.
Yeah.
Okay, I agree to pay 200 naira.
How much you think they carry people from that place we carry on the chair?
Okay.
Why they touch me?
Now 100 naira. He agreed to pay.
Because that was what you said was the fair. Why you not going to pay you? Why you they extort your customer? You see this corruption, what would they hear for news? They see for people everywhere. This is corruption, not in our country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
You're welcome back, and we have Fidelia Agunsha with Business Stories. Hello, Fidelia.
Hi, Anaka.
Please bring us up to date to the latest in business today.
Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Mele Kyari, says there will be enough petroleum products in circulation during the Yuletide season. Kyari gave the assurance when he visited Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at the Government House in Ikeja. He says the NNPC and its partners in the downstream have made adequate preparations to ensure a hitch-free Christmas and New Year celebration for Nigerians. Scarcity of petroleum products usually mars the Yuletide season in Nigeria, where most citizens travel to their home state to celebrate the period.
And we are working with His Excellency to resolve any issue around host community issues, our corporate social responsibilities that will facilitate harmonious coexistence with our host communities and the businesses. And of course, overall, so that if these businesses can thrive, they will create employment for Lagosians and for Nigerians. And of course, to assure Nigerians that we have seen nothing to indicate that there's any constraint in terms of petroleum product supply and distribution. And NNPC and our partners and our tampon owners and every other stakeholders in the downstream sector, where we know we are set and ready. Our preparations are adequate. Our planning is robust. And we foresee a very peaceful Christmas and into the new year and going further into the year.
We are working amongst ourselves as stakeholders to see how we also improve the entire infrastructure all around the Ijegun, tank farm. but it's an important resource for this country. And both ourselves and themselves, and also the tank farm owners, realize that we all need to come together to bring about, future long-term solutions. But like the MD rightly said, the system is well poised to ensure that we do not have any form of challenge or any form of hiccup during the festive season. They have enough products, as they usually say, to meet all of the critical needs of various parts of the country. And we as a government will do everything to make sure that during this period of Christmas, everything that they require is made available for them, for us to have a seamless, festive season.
Begin to enjoy better services from telecommunications
Infrastructural improvement is a major...
This is according to the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC. The commission said this in Abuja at the presentation of the final report on complaint categories and service level agreement with service providers. NCC has been meeting with telecom operators to find a lasting solution to complaints raised by consumers. The regulator also hinted that a lot of discussions are on with stakeholders to address the issue of e-fraud, which is rampant in the country.
What we expect to be a satisfactory outcome for the customer, and in the event, which we hope will be few, where the complaint is not resolved, we've also put in there what would be the possible penalty which the Commission may look to exert upon the operator where the complaint is not resolved. We're looking at any complaints in relation to data. What do we expect the service provider to do where a consumer feels that his account has been debited wrongly? So this is setting out the time frame that, okay, what should a network operator do where a consumer raises a complaint about that issue?
January 2019, we had a forum on e-fraud, and we had quite a number of resolutions, among which is that banks are responsible for the protection of funds of their customers. And if anybody loses money via e-fraud, the banks take responsibility, and that is in operation.
The Association of Consulting Engineering in Nigeria, ACEN, has called for the integration of engineers into the country's politics to boost national development. President of the association, Charles Akindayomi, made the demand at the 41st annual conference of the association in Lagos. Adishawa Dushoga has more in this next report.
Infrastructural improvement is a major stake to development of a nation, and for a country buoyed by infrastructural challenges, engineers have faulted this to their low involvement in governance. This formed the fulcrum of discussion at the 44th annual conference of the Association of Consulting Engineers in Nigeria, held in Lagos. The group says engaging more engineers in the nation's political space will combat the nation's challenges, especially in the areas of infrastructure.
As a matter of fact, over the years, we've been having problems of Nigerian engineers not being patronized to do jobs, right? And we've been clamoring. Every year we do one of our conferences. We make sure that the topic is very relevant to engineering, because a lot of engineers are now complaining they don't have work. If you go to the ministry, you don't get jobs. Majority of the time, they package all the jobs, give it to a contractor who will do something like a design and build. For example, everybody knows George Beja. You know, George Beja does all the big jobs that you can see in Nigeria. But George Beja actually packaged it by also doing design along with it. But then we have Nigerian engineers who have, over the years, have actually had experience in the real estate sector.
And there's still a lot of challenges. There's a lot of new opportunities for engineers to participate in the building of the infrastructure of our country. And this can only be achieved if we improve our performances up our skills, entrench excellence in the profession, entrench ethics and best practice. And there is a lot that we can still do, both on our own by improving our skills, but also by support from governance in terms of how much mandate and how much power and how much responsibility that is thrust on us, and how much challenges that are given to us, and how much resources and funding that are made available to the engineering profession.
Something that we make here should be what we consume, because that is what is sustainable. In fact, there is no hope, for a man that has a family that every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he has to go to a restaurant. The day he's not able to do it again, those people, the restaurants owners, they will probably be able to give 2 or 3 meals free. After that, the person is in trouble. So that's the reason why we said, let us consume it. It doesn't diminish us to consume what we make.
I wouldn't say yes, government is doing enough, but government recently has retraced its steps by bringing out certain orders, to benefit, engineering, Nigerian engineering practitioners. One of these orders is order number 5, which has given a lot of, leverage and opportunities to Nigerian professionals, not only engineers, but professionals in the built environment. So my call on government will be to ensure that this order is implemented in line with its thought.
The engineers, however, lauded the government for the enactment of the Current Amendment Act 2019. According to them, the Act represents a landmark in their quest to ensure engineering regulation acquires the required teeth in the enforcement of policies that will promote the development of engineering in Nigeria. Adeshawa Odushoga, TV360 Lagos.
We will now review activities on the stock market after this break. Nigeria's equities market closed trading for the week the same way it began, and that's in the positive territory as renewed interest by investors gave the market a 61 billion naira boost. At 26,314 basis points, the all-share index closed the week better than it did last Friday when it stood at 26,293 points. Banking and industrial goods equities were the toast of investors today, leading the pack of 19 gainers. Guaranty Trust Bank sits top on the chart with a 1 naira 6 kobo boost in its share price. And I must say it has been a productive week for this banking equity right here, which opened trading for the week at 25 naira and 20 kobo and is closing at 28 naira and 6 kobo. Also on the gainers chart is Cement Company of Northern Nigeria with a 1 naira 1 kobo rise in value. Access Bank and WAPCO PLC, which is Lafarge Africa, also had a swell day, sitting on the 3rd and 4th position of the gainers chart. The reverse was, however, the case for Dangote Cement right here, which sits top on the losers chart after dropping by 2 naira 1 kobo today. It has been a very bad week for this industrial goods equity, which has dropped by close to 3 naira after 5 straight days of consecutive drops. It was also a bad day for Unilever right there, CAP PLC and MTN Nigeria, sitting 2nd, 3rd and 4th on the losers chart. In summary, over 432 million shares valued at 5.5 billion naira, or about 5.5 billion naira, were transacted in 4,002 deals on the floor of the market today. And on the foreign scene, which is outside Nigeria, FTSE and Dow Jones are in the negative territory. Some people would attribute this to the delay in the signing of an agreement between USA and China on their trade dispute, though Nikkei is closing in the greens with a 0.2% increase in market value. Well, that is from the world of business. It's back to Annette.
Thanks for that, Fidelia. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the army there says it has killed 25 rebel fighters since it launched an offensive against militia groups in the east of the country. The anti-insurgency operation was launched at the end of last month. 7 government soldiers have also been reported killed since the operation started. The Congolese military launched the operation from Benin, an area targeted by the Ugandan group, the Allied Democratic Forces, which has killed hundreds of people. And in sports, Nigeria's Olympic Eagles will face Cote d'Ivoire on Saturday, November 9, 2019, in their opening Group B fixture at the 2019 Africa Under-23 Cup of Nations, AFCON. The encounter is scheduled to kick off at 4 p.m. West African time at the Al Salam Stadium in Cairo. Imama Akpapu's boys qualified for the tournament after defeating Sudan 5-0 in Asaba. At the end of the match, the winner will progress to the competition semi-finals, where Africa's 3 representatives for Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games will be picked. And that is on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annette Felix. Thanks for watching.